So, welcome everyone. Today is Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. This is Explore Manufacturing Careers, specifically the intersection of science, engineering, and manufacturing. Minnesota is a huge industry for the medical device company, device industry, and it also has a number of aerospace companies, as well as 3M, the big ones, but then also small manufacturers who are in that intersection of chemistry, engineering, laser printing, adhesives, everything, you name it. So we're going to be exploring that topic in just four of the many companies that are in Minnesota. As most of you know, we are highlighting Manufacturing Month in October. And one thing I do want to point out, on careerforcemn.com, we have the Explore Careers information area. It's on the main page. It's a green button across the middle. When I typed in science engineers, one of the job titles it gave me is manufacturing engineers. And it makes it quite clear that this is an in-demand job area with a 10-year growth of 8.8%, 10-year openings over 7,000. And those numbers usually include both new openings and retiring, openings because of retirement. So it really is a good area to consider for young people, for mid-career, for returning. Maybe you've got some experience in the past, whatever the case may be, give engineering and manufacturing and science another look. You can find all of this information on the CareerForce main page under the Explore Careers, and let me know if you ever have any help or need any help. I do want to point out right away, rather than waiting until the end, that next Thursday, October 28th, we are having our first ever statewide manufacturing career fair for any company, any job seeker throughout the state. I'm sorting the lobby, so to speak, the virtual lobby, by region. So you will be able to go into the region that you live in and find job openings and companies in your area. And then with the software, you have text chats, and you can also request video chat with the recruiters. And, just because they might not have a certain job posted, I always encourage job seekers to have a conversation with them saying, hey, this is what my background. Do you have any idea of what's coming up in your company in the coming months that I may be qualified for? All of the recruiters that I've used the software with in the past couple of months have loved it. And it works on your phone. I've tried it on my cell phone. It also works on a laptop. So I'm going to put the link in the chat in just a minute. But I want to introduce the companies that we have here today. We have Integris, Resonetics, Spectrolytics, and Collins Aerospace. They're going to be giving you an overview of their intersection of the science that they do, the manufacturing they do, how they hire, what kind of background they look for when they have people apply, and what tips they could give you when you are looking for your next position. So don't be shy about putting questions in for all of the recruiters. So first, I'm pleased to welcome Doug Mueller of Integris. Doug, are you there?
I am here. Thank you very much, Liz. It's a pleasure to be here and tell you about exciting company that I'm very proud to work at. And you can see there my contact information. So anybody interested, that's how you can get a hold of me. Next slide, please. You can see we do a lot of different things. We have over 20,000 products. Our national headquarters is in Billerica, Massachusetts. About 6,000 employees. So a smaller company, but every plant does something different. Here in Minnesota, we are in Bloomington and Chaska. We have plants there. Next slide, please. We have some very good values that I like: people and teamwork, creativity and innovation, accountability, integrity, and trust, and dedication to excellence. I think we have a very good environment for people to work in, and with work-life balance and other things that makes it a good work experience for them. Next slide, please. Here again, you can see we are a worldwide corporation. We are building a new facility in Taiwan. We are in China. We are all over the place. In the U.S., to your left there, you can see we are all over the place in the U.S. Again, every plant does something different. Next slide, please. We have a CSR program where we also talk about innovation, safety, personal development, inclusion, and sustainability. You can see we have very defined goals, all the way going up to 2030. So we do look closely at what things we want to accomplish and how to get there, and share that with our employees and what piece they have in that. Next slide, please. Here again, we've had sustained revenue growth. You see in 2015 where we were, 2020 we're up. The weird, strange world we live in, we have some COVID-related products, so our company is growing because of COVID, which is kind of strange to say for me, but it's the honest truth. So it's a time for us to add more employees and have employees share in a very good product that helps battle COVID at the moment. Next slide, please. We have received a lot of rewards from companies we work with. You can see we work with Texas Instruments, Lam Research, Sumco, and Samsung. Next slide, please. Here's the type of markets we serve. Our biggest market is in the semiconductor industry, packaging of semiconductor chips, sometimes in liquid, sometimes in special packaging. We produce that packaging at our plant in Bloomington. So this talks a little bit about that. Every time a new mobile phone comes out, there's a chip in that phone. We're the ones that usually provide the packaging to transport that chip. Next slide, please. Here you can see the broad range of things that we do. It's kind of a company that you wonder where something comes from and that you never noted before. That's kind of us. We do specialty chemicals and engineering materials. We do microcontamination controls. We do advanced materials handling. Here in Minnesota, in our Bloomington plant, we produce products called the Aramus bag that stores the vaccine before it goes into vials. It can be used in other production processes. We also make the packaging materials for semiconductor chips and also sensitive information. In Chaska, we're doing anything providing fluid handling, piping, tubing, manifolds, plastic parts, storage containers, anything to do with fluid. Next slide, please. So here's what I call the good stuff. I think we have a very good offering for people that are working for us. We do have 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts. We pay a shift differential for most of our shifts. We try to customize a shift for the applicant. So just if we don't have a shift you're looking for, we try to customize that for you. We have a 24/7 operation in both our plants. We give you a $5,000 sign-on bonus. We give you a yearly bonus of 5% or higher based on your performance and the company's performance. 3 weeks vacation. If you come on board and you invite all your friends to come work for us, we'll pay you $3,000 for each of your friends that starts. And I can tell you that is going great guns here, especially in our Bloomington plant. Matching 401k with immediate vesting. A lot of companies, you're not vested immediately with the portion they're put in. Here you are vested immediately, and we have a lot of advancement and stability possibilities. If you start as a manufacturing operator, you have the opportunity to advance to a lead, supervisor, a lot of different ways you can go. Next slide, please. These are some of our main positions. Most of our openings now are at Chaska, but we have openings in assembly, manufacturing operators, machinists, quality technicians. Warehouse is a big thing for us right now, as it is in many companies. Designers, molders, product manager, production supervisor, and there we have the engineers again. So a large variety of positions that we currently have open. Next slide, please. So that's it. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about my company. Certainly here to answer any questions anyone may have.
Thanks, Doug. Yeah, let's explore this a little bit more. With the science connection too. I know on our these webinars, I always get a big range of job seekers, from students and high school teachers to mid-career to maybe older workers who are switching careers. What do the different entry points look like for people depending on their background? I
Well,
mean,
manufacturing operators, we will train them. So you don't have to come in with a lot of heavy duty experience. A position like a machinist or a more skilled position, you need some experience, but we will train you. So if we've all worked the jobs at McDonald's or other positions and you think, well, I just can't break into this type of a industry, you can. Um, the things that are important to us are the soft skills, right? The reliability, the communication skills, people that want to work hard, things like that are most important to us. So we're very open to training people. We have a very diverse workforce at Bloomington. We have a lot of people with Ethiopian background, Somalian, Afghans, Burmese. The list goes on and on and on. And they refer their family members or others to work with us. So I see one person asked, "Are you addressing the shortage?" If that's what you mean, I have had no problems hiring because of the referrals. It's a good place to work. That word gets around. Referrals come in, and that works out really well for us.
right. Well, okay, I'll read one question that came in to me. Um, does Integris have any openings now or in the future for part-time remote customer service reps, days, not weekends? What type of other options besides on the production floor are there?
Um, Customer service reps, probably not. There are salary positions that can work remote. We have not returned to work yet. Um, the factory, the plant positions, you need to be there to produce the product. So those can't be remote, right? Other positions, can be remote. So it's just kind of like what you're looking for. And it's kind of hard, you know, go to our site, look at the openings. If there's something you're interested in, call me and ask me, can this position be remote? And we will certainly be upfront with you on that.
And what type of background does your engineering staff tend to have? Is it like electrical engineering, chemical or material science engineering? What does that look like?
I would answer your question, yes, all of those.
All of
All
the
of those
above, huh?
manufacturing engineers, design engineers, people working with SolidWorks, CAD designers, product managers, just all types, like a regular man. When you look at manufacturing companies, we almost have the same type of openings, right? At another manufacturing company, it's just the difference in the product. So same type of positions that any other manufacturing company would probably have.
Sure, that sounds great. So how do people go about applying? Do they contact, should they just apply? Are there any tips when sending in
Well,
their
certainly,
resume?
I think a good place to start is go to Integris Careers, which you have up there.
Mhm.
Find a position, certainly apply. The good thing is get into to our system some way so you're there. I can match you to openings, and then I'm open. Call me or send something to my email because I want to keep track of you. We will call you. We're the type of recruiter groups that will call you and keep you informed. I'm that type of recruiter as well. So, but I don't want you to be lost. I want to give you attention, especially, it's competitive. A lot of you are looking at a lot of different roles. You may have multiple offers. So we want to keep you interested in our company.
That's great. Thank you. Yes, and I can attest to all of you on the call that Doug is very responsive. I love working with Doug because he always gets back to me. So that says a lot for Integris too. So
Thank you.
thank you very much for being on this call, and I hope people consider this.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
So we're going to move ahead to Resonetics. We have Lauren Alfaro here with Resonetics. Lauren, take it away.
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. Like she said, my name is Lauren. I'm a HR generalist for Resonetics in our Hutchinson site. And I've actually only been with the company since January of this year, but Hutchinson is one of our newer acquisitions. So we're all kind of new on this side and excited to be with the company. So Resonetics is the leader in micromanufacturing for the life science industry. And our culture is based on innovation and service. We pride ourselves on being a leader that can work with the life science industry to provide innovative solutions in unrivaled customer service. Um, our values include innovation, urgency, quality, integrity, respect, and inclusion. And our CEO deeply believes that to fulfill our mission, it comes down to hiring and retaining the right people, developing them, and making sure that we have a work environment where the people show up to work happy and excited to do the work that needs to be done to provide the service that we provide. Next slide, please. So Resonetics started in 1987, but since 2015, we've added 10 locations and are planning to keep acquiring. We're small, but growing fast in our global manufacturing network with facilities in the United States, Costa Rica, Israel, and Switzerland. We have a total of 11 facilities and around 1,200 employees total. Next slide, please. In Minnesota, we have two facilities, one in Blaine and one in Hutchinson. And the next few slides, I'm just going to talk about the work we do in those and kind of what positions fall into that. So our automated solutions department has been part of Resonetics since 1987. It has basically been the thing that started the industry itself with our company. And we have our team of engineers that focus on these positions. So we have 30 plus years of laser and precision experience. And we have mechanical, electrical, software, and optical engineers that take care of that. Next slide, please. Another department where we have our engineers is the Lightspeed Applications Development Lab. Most of our engineers are usually backgrounds in bachelor or have bachelor's and master's in chemistry, physics, engineering, or material science. And our Lightspeed department has engineers and technicians that work basically with our clients to produce or to take their components and produce them and prototype them from the beginning to all through the quality process, or the inspection process, or the manufacturing process, all on site. So anybody that has experience with that or that has worked in Lightspeed engineering is very welcome, and we're definitely looking to add on to our team. We have 75 dedicated Lightspeed workstations across the company, and both our Blaine and Hutchinson sites have Lightspeed labs that are currently working with new challenging projects. Next slide, please.
Lauren, your volume is just a little quiet. If you could speak into the mic, that would help.
Yeah, no problem. Let me grab it a little bit closer. Can you hear me a little better now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, perfect. Next slide, please.
Yeah, I changed it.
Our production team, that's where our operator positions will be more focused on. We do have two levels of operators. Operator one is somebody that would come off, out the street with little to no experience, and we would train through our process, mostly working with inspection and loading and unloading machinery, and starting up the process for the operator twos. Operator twos are the employees are going to be actually operating the machine and running through the whole process and troubleshooting the equipment whenever there are issues with it. So all of our locations are manufacturing locations, and once the Lightspeed team is done with prototyping and developing the component, they will transfer over to our manufacturing and production facility or production department to run through the whole assembly and implant and inspection process. Next slide, please. We also have CNC machining positions open. This department right now is mostly in Blaine, though Hutchinson will be expanding soon and adding more machinist positions to the site. We have Swiss, turning, vertical and horizontal milling, and EDM machines that we hire machinists for. So we do like to have people with prior machinist experience for these positions, but we have also promoted internally our operators to tools into this position. So if you start as an operator, there's always room for growth for you to learn more and to transfer to other departments. Next slide, please. So the last two slides, these are both departments that are focused in Hutchinson. So as you can see, with the photochemical machining, we have over 50 years of experience. That's because our Hutchinson site was acquired, as I mentioned, last November. And we actually acquired HDI, which has had a lot of employees with a lot of seniority. So we have operator twos and operator ones that work in the photo etching department here that have been here for many, many years. So we have a lot of experience there, but are definitely looking to expand. And as we have those employees retired, we're looking for people that have that experience to transition into this department and to start with us. Same concept as with the production operators. If somebody comes off the street, with no experience or little to no experience, we would train them up as an operator one. And if you do have 3 or more years of manufacturing experience, we would take you in as an operator two, and obviously train you into the photo etching process. But next slide, please. But we also have a tooling department, and this tooling department is for Hutchinson is the only site that has a tooling department in the whole company. And with our tool makers, we have 650 years plus of combined experience. We just celebrated one of our tool makers last month that had been in the tool room for 40 years. So we see a lot of that. We have tool makers that have 20 or more years of experience. I think we only have like 2 that are lower seniority than that. But same concept, we are definitely preparing to start hiring, more tool makers in the future, since a lot of them are going to be transitioning into retirement in the next couple of years. This group basically focuses on dedicated precision tooling with our grinders and mills. And so anybody that has experience with, operating compresses or working with machinery where you're doing coil winding or creating ribbons or anything like that, we would be looking at for this position. Next slide, please. So for our actual current openings that we have right now, as you can see, our Blaine facility has a lot more than our Hutchinson. Blaine just currently extended into a 3rd shift, so that caused a lot of internal movement, which created a lot more openings. But we have a lot of different levels there, from operators to technicians to engineer, and then to managerial level. And for Hutchinson, we're currently hiring for operators and technicians, as well as our tooling manager. He's retiring end of this month, so we are very eager to find a replacement for him. He leaves a big hole, so we really look forward to seeing candidates that have the tooling managerial experience that could fall into that. We're also hiring some interns for our Lightspeed department. So again, anybody that's a sophomore or junior in college right now with a chemistry, physics, or engineering or material science major, we would be eager to work with that. With the CNC machinists and tool makers as well, even though we're not hiring in Hutchinson for those right now, we would definitely welcome resumes and applicants just to review, since we will be hiring in the future. Next slide, please. So some of the benefits that we do offer for our employees are medical, dental, vision, and life insurance, which you're eligible for right upon hire. You have 30 days to sign up when you first get hired, but you would be eligible from day one. And we do offer an employer-funded HRA account to help pay toward your deductible. We also offer company-paid short-term disability and long-term disability, and 3 weeks of PTO accrual for your first year. And we do offer profit sharing. I didn't add it on here since anybody hired in the next few months wouldn't qualify for profit sharing for next year, but you would qualify for a profit sharing program for the 2023 year. We also offer a 6% 401k company match that's fully vested and tuition reimbursement up to $8,000 a year. Next slide, please. And then how to apply. You can submit your resume for consideration to HR@resonetics.com or apply at our sites in our career tab. Or we also have our positions posted on LinkedIn, Indeed, and Facebook. And any questions, anything, if you are curious as to what are the requirements for specific positions, you can reach out to Bao Lekovich at the Blaine facility, or for the Hutchinson side, you can reach out to me.
Thank you. I really got the message too that there are a lot of retirements happening in your company, correct?
Correct.
So there's a lot of openings. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question that's kind of far out of field, but I have heard of, like maybe a person had a science degree or some, a couple of years of science experience in their background, left the industry. Do you ever do things like returnships, like an internship for an older person, or how would you wrap them in? What kind of position could they be considered for at Resonetics?
I think for people in that situation, we definitely consider them for a technician or even an engineer level position. If they have the education and if they have, even a few years of experience in manufacturing, you can definitely take that experience and that education and mold it into our positions and train them up from there because they have the basic core knowledge.
Good. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were mentioning about the CNC openings too, and with a lot of this, I'm very aware that if a person hasn't worked in this industry, they might not even have any CNC experience or know what it is. So, having those opportunities to kind of learn about what's going on is pretty helpful.
Definitely. Yeah. And we really pride ourselves in growing our people. So I'm using the Hutchinson Science as an example since I've been here for the most part. A lot of our employees here that are at the engineer level started, as operators and kind of climbed that ladder. And I know in Blaine, Bao has promoted a lot of people that started as operators and are now production leads. So there's definitely room for growth, and we promote that and we encourage that.
Good. What's the role of robotics in your company?
At least for our sites, we do have a lot of automation in terms of the CNC machines, and then our operators ones that do a little bit of coiling and just like wire wrapping. But in our two sites, we don't have a lot of robots now.
Okay. Okay. Good. Well, thank you so much for being on the call today. This is really helpful to understand another facet of the industry.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to go to Spectrolytics. We have Lori Blaret here today. Lori, I hope I'm saying your last name right. I'm not quite sure about that.
It's Blauert. That's fine.
Blauert. Okay.
Well, hello. So, yeah, Lori Blauert. I am the Human Resources Manager for Spectrolytics, and we are a medical device company in Dassel, Minnesota. We're a pretty fast-growing company as well, as everyone else is talking about. COVID hasn't slowed us down at all, so that's a good thing. You can go to the next slide. So we provide laser cutting solutions for medical devices. So we use both metals and polymers, which is just another word for plastics, basically. We are owned by Cretex Medical. Cretex is a local family-owned company out of Elk River. So we are not an international company by any means. We're a small, homegrown company. They have 6 med device companies, of which Spectrolytics is one. So we have a great parent company that certainly puts their money and their kind of puts our teeth into us. So we have been, they're very gracious in bringing us equipment that's kind of the new and upcoming thing. So we're always putting in new equipment into all of our companies, getting people cutting edge training, and trying to be ahead of the game. We work with our customers to manufacture those next generation medical devices. So in the med device industry, it may take 3 years to actually get something to market. But by the time it gets to market, we're already working on the next version. Spectrolytics is known for its quality, and we are an ISO 13485 facility. So everything we do has work instructions, and you have to follow the rules. So you've got to be able to read and follow instructions, because that's what we tell our customers that we are going to do. You can go to the next slide. So we were started in 1990. So it was a small company in Dassel, had one building. He actually started it in Edina with 2 people and 2 lasers. Then he bought the building in Dassel in 98. And then Cretex company purchased Gary's company in 2012. So Cretex or Spectrolytics now has 2 buildings in Dassel. So we purchased another building. We also are open 24/7. We had substantial growth last year. We currently have about 189 people. So we are the largest employer in Dassel. We as well are kind of expanding at the seams. So in the picture, if you look at the bottom picture, the sort of building that looks kind of orangish, there is 53,000 square feet of warehouse space in the back that we are currently starting to grow out. So we are starting to expand and move more equipment back there and starting to move people. So it's great for our future. We have room to grow even within Dassel, so that's exciting for us. We're planning on staying here, and that's a good thing, especially for a small town, to have an employer who's going to stick around. So that's a good thing. Next slide. So some of our benefits, there is a YouTube video there as well. If you look at this, you'll be able to click on that. But we offer, great competitive benefits as well. Medical, dental, vision, and life insurance. We have 9 paid holidays annually. We also provide 3 weeks of PTO to start. We have a 401k with a match. We also do provide profit sharing. We have a tuition reimbursement program. So we offer so much in tuition reimbursement each year. We have a great wellness program that's also sponsored by Cretex. So that's across all of our companies. We have a really positive work environment. Operational excellence is part of our culture. So that is one of the things that Cretex is known for, is operational excellence. And we are one of those companies that, yes, we truly say, we want to know your ideas. We want you to tell us how to do your job better, because those people on the floor are the ones doing it. And they're the best at finding the better ways to do things faster and cheaper and smoother. So we encourage that. That is actually a requirement of all of our employees. They're supposed to submit 4 changes throughout each year to help us improve our company. We also have a Cretex University, so that's something that all of our the Cretex companies use, where we have a learning management system where they can take classes online. We'll send people to leadership training. So we have a lot of learning and training opportunities available at our company. Next slide. So some of our current openings, we have production operators as well. We have full-time and part-time positions. We have 5 shifts available. So we are also a 24/7 facility. So we're always open. There's always people here working. Production operators for us, majority of the people that apply here have no experience whatsoever. but it is a nice environment for the operators. I get a lot of people who retire and then they decide, I don't want to stay home all the time. So they may come and work here 2 to 3 days a week. We're air conditioned shops. A lot of the positions are where you can actually sit. You don't have to be standing on your feet all day. We do a lot of microscope work. But those people are generally not trained. So we train people as long as you have the initiative and are willing to learn things. It's very easy for people to come on board and get right into it. We do also have some engineering positions. I have an applications engineer open right now. We do a lot of our own research and development as well. So we're looking for those people who have that initiative to figure out what's the next best thing and how to make it work. Our production operators report to cell leads. So I do have a cell lead position open right now. I have engineering technicians, generally only a couple of those at a time, but because we're growing, we're looking for more of those. And engineering technicians are basically somebody who may not have an engineering degree, but really has technical skills to kind of figure equipment out, troubleshoot it, set it up. We make all of our own equipment here at Spectrolytics, so it's figuring out how to make things work. I'm looking for a human resources coordinator / admin assistant. So basically a front desk person who can also help with human resources work. Looking for a machine maintenance technician. So kind of similar to that engineering technician, but when a piece of equipment goes down, I need somebody to help figure out how to fix it. We also have quality engineering technicians. So related to, watching every piece that comes out of our equipment and making sure that it's working well and that it's coming out the way according to the specs that have been written for it. So people who are really good at that, if you're good at you need attention to detail. You have to, generally, a lot of my positions require good vision. Generally, we're in the business of using lasers to make med device components. So these are very teeny tiny parts and pieces. So if you know anybody who has a stent in their heart, those are the kinds of things we make. So they're very, very small. A lot of the things might be the size of a hair. So it's having that attention to detail, because considering you're making something that could save somebody's life, you want to make sure it's done right. So those are a lot of the positions that we have available. Our website is there at the bottom of the screen, www.spectrolytics.com, and we do have a careers page. We encourage people to go on, look at all the positions that are available, and apply for anything that you're interested in. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks, Lori. And I really appreciate your attention to detail on what it takes to work in this environment. So good vision, there is the ability to sit, attention to detail, quality control, really. And interesting that you mentioned part-time positions. So is there some ability for, people, like if they've retired early and want to go back and work 5 hours a day? Is that an opportunity?
Yes, that's very common with us. We're, of course, just with the times right now, we are being as flexible as possible, but generally we don't do anything less than 16 hours per week. But otherwise, yeah, I have people who maybe work 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. I have people who work maybe 3 days a week. So very flexible as far as, what we have. We'll make it work.
Good. Yeah. And that could be an opportunity for parents with school-aged children, right? If
Yes,
they go to
absolutely.
school at 8:30, start work at 9:30, work till 3, whatever the hours might be.
Right. Yep. We're
Yeah.
very open to that.
Fantastic. And so lastly, why should someone consider working in science and engineering and manufacturing? I mean, what have you seen That's fantastic about the industry.
Well, I think when you consider, especially in the med device industry, every part that you make is having an impact on lives across the world. So you might be making 5,000 pieces in a day. Well, that's 5,000 lives that you are affecting. So everything you do has a big impact on somebody's life. And that's, I get a lot of people from healthcare if they're burnt out on healthcare, because at least they're still doing something to help people. And in this device, that's an encouraging thing. When you go home at the end of the day, when you realize that you've done something that has a profound impact on somebody's health and well-being, that's a great feeling. It's great to know that you've made an important impact on somebody's life every day.
That's a fantastic testimonial. Thank you, Lori, for being on the call today and sharing all this information about Spectrolytics. I really appreciate it. We're going to move on to our last speaker of the day. It's Collins Aerospace in Burnsville, and we have Omesh Rupan Singh with us today to tell us more about the aerospace industry, a little bit larger scale than stent-sized pieces. Omesh, welcome.
Thank you, Liz. Thanks everyone for being here. If you cannot hear me clearly, just let me know. Battling a little bit of a flu. Okay, perfect. But wanted to introduce everyone to Collins Aerospace. You probably have not heard of us a lot, but I'm pretty sure you've recognized our products out there in the market. To start off with a little bit about us. So our parent company is Raytheon Technologies. That's been around for quite a while, but Collins was actually created back in 2018, where we merged with UTC Aerospace Systems and Rockwell Collins. It's kind of one of the reasons they did that is because of the demand with the industries that we are in. So as you can see on the bottom bullet point there, it says commercial aviation, business aviation, military and defense, helicopters, just to name a few. So I'll just break this down. So if you've ever traveled before and you went in and instead of going to see someone at the desk, you checked in at the kiosk. So if you've done that before, those are kiosks that are manufactured by my company. And in addition to that, if you go through security, some of the sensors that you go through are also manufactured by Collins Aerospace. And lastly, if you're sitting on the plane and you hear the pilot comes on and he says, "Oh, we're being delayed because of some kind of weather, inclement weather," yes, those are the sensors that we provide that that are on the airplanes that kind of figure out the temperature and the gauges so that it is safe to travel. So you might not know of us, but you've probably heard a lot about the products that we do have. Thanks, Liz. So there's a couple of ways, and the biggest thing for Collins is being a part of redefining what aerospace is. I can say specifically with Doug and some of my other counterparts, they've been really well with recruiting and hiring. Unfortunately, not with us because we are a hands-on and individuals need to be at the plant. So we did lose a few, but we are also growing. And with that, as everyone knows, there's a COVID policy that Collins Aerospace has implemented. So we want to make sure that everyone is safe and being able to provide for our customers as we move forward. Next slide. So as you can see, you see the cockpit there on the on the left. We are very when it comes to the possibilities and growing with us, we are very excited to bring individuals in. There's a lot of room for growth, and I'll touch on this a little bit more, but we firmly believe in bringing individuals in and having them grow with us. Go ahead, Liz. So there's a video there. If you can, just check it out. It pretty much gives you an overview of working within our plant, gives you an overview of day-to-day responsibilities and what it entails. So please feel free to check that out. Let me know if you have any questions. So benefits. I'm pretty sure you guys are very familiar with these, but two things I will point out. Number one, the Employee Scholar Program. So that's a 100% reimbursement program that we do have at Collins. So you can come in with an entry-level position, and if you want to pursue your degree, we will definitely assist with that. In this day and age, as you may know, we do have Bright Horizons. That is pretty much any kind of childcare or elder care. So, you know, with COVID and everyone having to stay home because they have to take care of someone, we've implemented that to assist individuals that have to come to work or may need to work, that whoever they're taking care of is being taken care of with any kind of child care or elder care that we can provide. So I guess this is kind of a couple of tips that I would suggest. I know my counterparts on here, they can chime in, but when it comes to resume, they always say that your resume should tailor the position you're applying for. You shouldn't have one resume. Number two, I firmly don't believe in an objective on your resume, because your objective is to get the job. So you don't need to list an objective. Education. If you've been to college or you had some kind of post-secondary school, list that. You don't need to go down to your high school or GED. If you don't have any post-secondary school, then you can just list your high school, where you went, city, state, and again, don't put in any dates. These are questions that I'm sure my counterparts are familiar with. They're behavioral interview questions. So they're not trick questions, but they pretty much start off with, tell me about a time when. And the way you would answer these questions is using the STAR method. So you would explain the situation, explain what you had to do, which is the task, explain what you did, which is the action, and then the result. Always remember to end on a high note, because as recruiters and HR professionals, we always remember the last thing. We don't really remember so much about the first thing. So keep that in mind as you go out and you interview, to have situations where you can bring up and you can speak specifically to a situation that's being asked. And the last slide, we have multiple openings. So for us, we would take an entry level and we groom. We also have internships. We have apprenticeship programs that anyone can go in and see what works best for them and what they would like to do. But again, whatever position that you select, it's our goal to groom you and for you to grow with the company. So if you come in as an assembler, our goal is to groom you into different engineering positions, and some of our positions are not, you don't need a bachelor's or a PhD or anything like that. We definitely take into consideration your work experience. So that's one important thing to keep in mind. Is not all focused on just having the educational background. It helps, but if you have the work experience, that's what we're looking for, especially within Collins. And that's my info. That's my work cell phone number. I know this day and age, everybody texts, so please feel free to call or text. The next site is our website. You can go on, you can look at all opportunities there. And the bottom one is specifically for Minnesota. So if you wanted to look at what we have available in Minnesota, that would be the link on the bottom. The middle link is throughout Collins Aerospace as well. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Amish. One question I have, and I really, really thank you for your resume tips. There's sometimes so much worry about applying through applicant tracking systems. And I have honestly heard from job seekers, not specifically Collins, but other companies where they've applied and then they never hear back, maybe because their keywords don't match or whatever. If someone has a question about whether their resume is correct, should they email it to you, talk to you first before they apply? Is the applicant tracking system fairly lenient, if they apply and someone will just contact them to, you use the word groom to talk with them about it? How does that work?
There's a couple of ways to answer that question. Number one, I know certain ATS applicant tracking systems, they do focus on the keywords. If there's specific keywords within a resume, then it automatically gets the Dear John letter or email that they're not qualified. But I think from a recruiter's perspective, we cannot really coach, or we can give suggestions, but at the same time, it does get us into that gray area where if we do say something to, a candidate, hey, you should switch this or you should do that, they apply again and they do not, get an interview or get an offer, then it goes back to a certain to a certain area. So we generally would give information where, oh, I think you should do this or I think you should do that. But I personally don't, I don't tend to coach or say, hey, you should apply for this or you should tweak this to apply for that. I think that the candidate should realize what's best for them and what they're looking to do. I hope I answered that question.
Right. No, thank you. Yeah. When I was looking at your site, I noticed that the internships for summer 2022 for the young people on this call are already posted. So it really is true that a person in school really has to work ahead, don't they?
Yes. Just like everything else, I mean, when you're applying to college, you normally send out applications way ahead of time instead of waiting until that August, September. But definitely, I would suggest that, if you are interested, to send it out sooner rather than later, because we do tend to see a lot of flow when it comes into March, April, around that time, as spring into summer, that kids are getting out of school and they're looking for something. So sooner better than later. I would always suggest that.
Right. And then for our job seekers, our career changers who are looking for a position perhaps at Collins, how long does this process take from application to potential interview to hiring? What should they expect?
So as far as applying and me being in contact, my goal is always to be in touch with someone within 24 hours. I don't like my cell phone number out there, but that still helps out with candidates. They can call or they can text. It's not a big deal at all. But the biggest part is when it comes into a background check, especially since we're a government contractor, it takes a little bit in addition to a drug test. So if I was to make an offer to someone, we're at a 3-week start date, and that's hoping that we can get a background back, the drug test, and there's certain COVID policies that has to be taken care of as well. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for being on here. I think it's fascinating, and I really never knew that Minnesota had a presence in the aerospace industry with you and then a few of the other aviation companies. So I think this is fascinating, especially for people who are interested in, the larger frame engineering science careers. So thank you. Thank you to Resonetics, Spectrolytics, and to Integris as well. All of this information is really painting a great picture of Minnesota's manufacturing industry. Next week is our last of this mini series. We're going to be hearing from companies that manufacture consumer products, whether it's food or home goods or construction goods. So it's going to be interesting. Once again, please sign up for the link, and hope to see you next Tuesday at 2:30. There are so many job fairs going on around the Twin Cities. I want to make sure that you get on all of them and have these opportunities to talk to recruiters. Like I said at the beginning, there are plenty of opportunities to chat and text with these um, recruiters. And even if they don't list something that is really up your alley, have that bigger conversation with them. Let them know what your background is and ask them what they know coming up at their company. So these are just a couple of them taking place tomorrow and Thursday. Chaska is actually having an in-person with a Cabinet Works group in Integer. North Metro, that's the Anoka, Blaine, Brooklyn Park, north side of 694. A virtual career fair on Wednesday morning, a virtual hiring event webinar with Hennepin County area people on Wednesday afternoon. And then the South Metro, south of the river, Dakota Scott. They have that job fair from 2 to 4 on Thursday. I've put the links to both the metro region, which is coming up the following week. I'll put that information here, and the career fair calendar. I hope you've all bookmarked the career fair calendar because there are so many hiring events, company events, job fairs going on in your area. So bookmark that career fair calendar and keep a look on it, keep an eye on it always. So I'm so glad to have you on the call today. Please reach out to me, liz.jennings@state.mn.us. Let us know how CareerForce can help you on your job search, help you with your resume or other things. And I hope to see you next week at all of our events. Take care.